Hello, everybody, and hopefully everybody's okay. I'm glad to see Barbie. I'm glad to see Chris. There are a few others. So, happy August 22 at 2020. So, we have lots of tutus, and we are also starting at 11 a.m. Guys, this reading is going to send lots of messages. So, it's really, really good to be live. I didn't want to advertise it as such because people shouldn't be just coming because it's about them, because they're like a group of people who are coming here. So I prefer that your spirit guides come through. So what else? Last 2 times we had a major issue with YouTube. It didn't upload it properly. I don't know what happened. It took, I think, days. So what I'm doing this time, I'm actually recording this in a separate program. It's the first time. I don't know if it's going to work doing this simultaneously, but anyhow, I'm doing it. So let's see how this really works. And lastly, I'm going to use Albano White Tarot. I might use Love Oracle cards, Romance Angels, whatever you call them, and Gypsy cards in case we need to clarify something. Also, we are on the cusp of Leo and Virgo, so these 2 signs are coming out first. So, shall we start? So let's start with Leo. Leo, happy belated birthday to everybody who have celebrated in the last 2 weeks. And for that remainder of a day that you're probably still going to kind of like have a Leo influence. So let's start. Leo. Hello from Northern California, guys. And let's see. But I want to take one in anticipation that's going to come out after Leo and Virgo are done, and let it sit there. So welcome, Leos. You brought us sunshine. You brought us lots of spirit. You brought us lots of energy. Did you notice how when sun is in its native sign, how it kind of like everything works better? So that's kind of like a good thing. And if you're seeing the steps on the table, is because Safi was here. Leo already has some kind of messages. This is you guys. Queen of Wands with the Emperor, with the Lovers, and with the Ace of Wands. This is going to be hot. Maybe you're dealing, if you're a woman, and this is clearly you. Mind you, like when I have general readings, guys, I have to explain it for those who are not coming here often. When there's like no gender distribution in general reading. It's a different thing when I do the private reading, right? So generally, Queen of Wands would be a Leo, and the Emperor would be Aries, and then we also have the appearance of Gemini over here and fire. But this is general, so we are going to go with what the general meaning is, right? So Queen of Wands kind of like is one of those intriguing figures, right? So she is not necessarily always letting her wishes known. That's why we have the Black Kitty. Black Kitty is a reminder, look, I have some secrets. I have seen things that you haven't, and I'm not going to let you know about them. So she is retaining that independence. When you have secrets, there's also a veil of mystery, and people usually pick up on a mystery. They want to tear it apart, and in the process they fall in love, right? Well, there is this dude who actually doesn't care much about the mystery, right? The Emperor is like, just give me the freaking numbers. Give me the numbers. Why this makes sense for me. Hi, Debbie. Hello. You're not going to say hi? What is this? Oh, there it is. I was wondering, how is this possible that we have silence? Yeah, it's Mrs. She just decided to sleep on me, and when you sleep on somebody who has hot flashes and then you have a hot cat on top of that, that's not a good combination. So you might be dealing with a person over here who, one person is kind of like very enthusiastic, very affectionate, and I feel this is you, male or female, where maybe you're dealing with a person who is maybe very, he or she could be very aggressive in terms of, I'm going to get what I want when I want it, right? But the Emperor is also very it's a masculine principle, right? It's animus principle, where you're really talking about taking care of the details. Keep in mind that we are living in the year number 4, so it's really good to take care of all the corners of your house. You want to make sure that nothing is wobbly. That's what happened to me last night. I was watching the series, what is it called, Broadchurch. I don't know if you've seen it, just like I'm on season 1. And I just like transferred from living room to bedroom where I have a smaller television. I know it's a big no-no. I just don't have that much room to put it anywhere. And then I noticed that little table that the TV is standing on is starting to freaking collapse. So there I am at 1 o'clock in the morning fixing the table. So that is very much the emperor thing. Like whenever you see something that is wrong, you really have a tendency to fix it because you don't want to create a bigger, disaster later. Because I didn't want to be walking up in the middle of the night with crashing television all over the floor, not to mention financial damage. But look at this, guys. There is like something. It almost looks like it's not really much. These two people do exist. So whether this is somebody special in your life, this also can identify anybody who somehow you consider an authority. It could be a father, mother, right, boss, not so much, priest or pope or anything like that. It's kind of like more of a pragmatic nature. It's somebody who usually has purse, if you really want me to say that. But look at that. There's like something happening. The Lovers is a really interesting card. It's a card about a choice. And in this story here, and this whole tarot, this whole major arcana is a story about Fool. And minor arcana is almost like a menu in a restaurant. So what Fool wants to have today and what kind of task you're going to send Fool to deal with, right? So in this particular scenario, Fool comes to this basically intersection of his spiritual journey, and he sees this beautiful woman with a tree of knowledge, right? She's naked. Oh my god, I have never seen a naked woman. He did see the Empress. He did see High Priestess. High Priestess didn't speak. She's like silent. She was just looking at him with her x-ray basically eyes, and she was studying his soul and trying to kind of like implement some soul, some kind of like personality in there, right? Then he's seen the Empress, and Empress was beautiful, but she had a whole bunch of pets and kids around, so she kind of like more or less had that mother figure more than she had, let's say, attraction. Then he went to a father figure who told him, you better watch all of this, right? Then he didn't see a woman until now, and now it's completely different. Now he's really reacting to it. Now he's really thinking about it, like the clouds are here where the angel is appearing, but whenever I see these clouds, I always connect it to Lenormand. This is what happens when you're reading different kind of like things. Hello, Knitting Yogi. And in Lenormand, clouds mean confusion, and that's what angel says here. Hey, Fool, what do you want? Look at how beautiful this woman is, and she's also very, very smart. But you have a lots of path to cover. You need to continue down your journey, right? So which way will you choose? When it's upright, it really talks about kind of like finding consensus. Maybe something is chosen, but maybe something still has to go down the road of journey, because Fool ultimately, in a positive sense, decides to continue his journey. So he can actually come back and offer more, right? And so basically that is his choice. But his choice is actually both in the upright situation. I want you, and I want to set our future, which also the Emperor wants. And this is really telling me that this was something in the past that has been happening for you guys, and now it is reviving. Ace of Wands generally sparks from something that has been, that's something that existed, or maybe there was no passion and all of a sudden there is passion. Like when, if you watch this movie Clueless, if you didn't, spoilers, just like, cover this for the next minute. If you did, this last scene when Alicia Silverstone is like realizing that this dude that she was teasing and she just really didn't deem him important, she said, oh my gosh, I'm doing this because actually I love him, I love Josh, kind of a thing. So hopefully everybody came back. Just give me a second, I need to get Kleenex. I'm still dealing with my asthma, with my bronchial kind of like stuff. And I did buy some stuff from Amazon.com, which cost me an arm and a leg, and it didn't work initially at all. So I was like, oh, and I bought quite a bit of it, so I don't have to pay for shipping again, completely being confident it's going to work. But then it didn't. So now I stopped taking these steroids that the doctor told me, and I gave it a shot, and it looks like it's getting better. So Leos, I really want to tell you there's like something over here looming over you. Maybe there is like some confusion. Maybe somebody really wants to or needs to take a little bit more time, but this is almost like going. There's like something that is really happening, and I really need nothing to clarify over here. This is all basically in the cards, right? And also, if you really look at it, if you add all of these cards, the majors are 10 and all together are making 11. So did I not tell you guys we're going to have really those massive messages over here? So 11 is karmic number. There's like something about healing. There's like something about providing kind of like to somebody. And if you're female, it most likely it's you. And look, it's 11:11 that I'm also seeing on my clock. And it's 22nd of August, 2020. So you guys are basically recipient of this amazing spiritual message. So 11 is Justice card, it's karma card, meaning things are getting balanced for you. You have earned some angel wings, you have earned some brownie points, and things are moving forward because you have won. So really good. What can I tell you? So the next one would be hello Virgos. Hello Virgo. Oh, I better put the stamp over here. And it's kind of weird. I was leaving those stamps and it was only 7 minutes of hour and a half that showed up, and Barbie was like, I don't know what's going on. And the last times I forgot to send an invite on time, so it was just a freaking mess. So we are just going to do this bi-weekly schedule for September. We'll see how it goes. I really have to admit, I love you guys, but I also love when I have the whole weekend. And kind of like I have been taking advantage of that. Nothing special, as you know. There's like not much trouble, but you know, I spend time with Tiger. So Virgo. Let's see. Virgo. There are no jumpers. Yeah, Leos really needed to hear something. You have the World reversed. Karma card, Justice, and you have Queen of Pentacles, which is basically you. You know, the World reverse is like when we say somebody turn your world upside down, kind of a thing, right? And it's not a good card to get. So for this next upcoming 2 weeks, I believe you're going to enter this week and enter this initial stage of your birthdays with some kind of upheaval. Unless you're dealing with one of these 4 fixed signs that are kind of like denoted in this card, which is the Aquarius, Scorpio, Taurus, and Leo. The fixed signs that are holding this reef, I cannot pronounce this word. It's spelled like wrath, but I hear everybody saying reef, and for the longest time I couldn't pronounce owl. It was like oval, and everybody was like laughing at my German-like pronunciation, which was like even double funny, right? Because I'm not German. So the fixed signs are shown over here also in clouds, because we, the fixed signs, I'm Aquarius, we have a tendency to always want to build a structure. Not necessarily the structure that already exists, and especially for Aquarians, we want to actually break structures, tear structures down. Taurus wants to reestablish the structures that are already there, right? Leo is kind of like ruling, I really want to show you how to have fun, but it has to be with certain rules. And Scorpio is pretty much ruling that kind of like underworld and passion and everything, right? So when this reverses, you can tell these four corners, maybe all of the 4 corners or just one of them, just kind of like wiggle out. But good news that the Justice is showing up, and Justice is always balancing things out. Look at her. She has this judicial scale, and it's in balance. So when this card shows up, it means yay, you finally maybe paid for something, because it almost looks like that some of you felt that you felt in some kind of either funk, or that one thing after another is coming your way, that things are really not working out properly, and so on and so forth, right? And when justice shows up, it says, you might not get what you want, but you're going to get what you need. And this is you. Like, you are showing as resourceful. You're showing as you're renewing your strength. And the way you renew your strength is by looking at, things that really work in your life, looking at things that you have accomplished. And that's kind of like you're giving yourself a pep talk. Let me see, Virgo, this world. Why this world reverse? Maybe we can get a little bit more info. I love your unicorns, Barbie. Look at that. It's money and despair. Well, it can be literal, right? That there are financial issues. So that will be this Taurus corner, Talak Tiraf, right? But money is also talking about secrets, because after all, we really don't know what is really in these books. We see some monetary values on these cards, but we don't kind of like see what is really there. And this is somebody who is also reacting overly emotionally. It's really interesting, and kind of like that he's looking for support of a chair, but he's just about to blow his brains out, right? This can also talk about some kind of jealousy. So that could be a Scorpio corner, right? It could be something, the passion didn't go his way. So that could be a Leo. Or maybe he, as I said, wanted to build some structure of his own, and he kind of like ran into a big resistance. What I really notice over here in this combination are the drapes. The drapes are red on this side and they're blue on this side, right? So it almost looks like it could be even the same window if you really think about it, right? So red would denote passion. It would denote maybe sometimes passion getting out of hand, because passion can also be shown with orange and with yellow. And the blue is like that sadness, but this is also sky blue. And it's kind of like a clarity of something. It could be sometimes that we get very sad, but at least we are stopped of moving down the road that is making no sense. So I really think this is what happened here with your world, but certain things are coming in order. Things are going to get better. Things are going to get way, way better. So at least during your, birthday times, so we are covering this until the September 5th. So that kind of like period of time is going to be really, really favorable for you. So I'll say maybe the first week you need to be a little bit more careful, and then things are going to get better. Alrighty. Hi, Lorna. And who was next? Next over here, waiting in the bushes, is Scorpio. So let's see, Scorpio, what is there for you? Scorpio. Hi, Fern, Sagittarius, Leo moon. So you probably got a good part of it. It's a little bit more shuffling to get things in. All right, Scorpio. You have Nine of Wands, and then Page of Pentacles reversed, and then you have Two of Swords. Well, what do you want, a good news or bad news first? Let's go with good news. Good news is like all minor arcanas, and it's almost like a menu. Maybe somebody doesn't have something on a menu. Maybe you kind of like you're feeling pushed over. You really, really want something. You're really willing to fight for it, but somebody is kind of like holding it back, and it's really weird. For the first time ever, this is either a typographic mistake or printing mistake that she has. I don't know. Can you see it? That she has this dot right over her third eye. I don't know if you can see it there, right? And so this card generally talks about indecision, but look at it. It is 11. 11, remember I was telling you, you're going to get lots of messages. You're getting a message. There's like something about somebody not being willing or not being able to make a decision. This also can talk a little bit about your children. Page of Pentacles can either talk about children, or there's like some kind of like level of immaturity in a situation of some sort, right? So page is moving slowly. Page of Pentacles is slow, dude. You're literally almost like an old man in a young body, right? It also talks about a study. Also tells you like you really need to figure it out. You really need to find it in the books, not sort of like self-knowledge, which would be Page of Fire, Page of Wands. This dude reversed, so he is scrolling slow. Now, it's really interesting. We also have bandage, bandage over here, and we have blindfold over here. Technically, possibly the same kind of like material. Maybe it almost like feels like it fell over over your eyes. Maybe something is moving too slow. I mean, I like to play one card game that is popular in Europe. You probably never heard of it. It's called Bellot. And you cannot play this card game slow. At least I can't, because you need to memorize like these 32 cards. And the more you memorize, the more you're able to connect it, how to memorize it, that better player you will be. So if somebody takes forever to make a move, it's kind of really hard to hold that memory bank. And I feel something like that somebody is extending something. Somebody's not going in a certain direction. It's going on forever. And like you are Scorpio, you're a fixed sign. Your patience is like, oh my God, how long is this going to last? But you have this hidden 11. And there's a reason for this happening. The reason is, we'll find out. We didn't get any major arcana to tell us the true reason. It is really telling you, as I said, the good news is, it's only minor. It's not going to be something monumental. Bad news is that you're going to have those irritations and sideways and so on and so forth, right? So let me just see. This is your card, and this one wanted to come out. Death of a lover. So are you fighting for a lover? Do you find that somebody's childish in a situation? Do you find that somebody's taking sweet time to decide? Or is it you trying to decide and you're like shifting continuously between your heart and your mind? And you're feeling that decision time is coming up, that you really don't want to continue this path. This can mean so many things. It can mean it's over. It can mean just decision is made, either you or somebody else. It doesn't really tell. But this can also mean, in tarot terms, that things really need to stop going the way they are going. Maybe this is simply referring to the speed of things. And that certain things maybe need to be revived, maybe in terms of passion. Because look at it. This is still a passion. We still have wands. This is passion. Because obviously he's being kicked in these battles and everything, but he's still continuing. He still wants to move forward. And then everything slows down, kind of like for him, right? So maybe, and that whole passion fizzles out. For you guys, passionless life is really difficult. You're not big fans of it, let me put it this way. So it's going to be really interesting for you. It's almost like a major arcana coming over here, but it's only kind of saying, remember, this is what was happening. Maybe you have been going through something in the past that is still kind of resonating. Maybe you have overcome certain hurdle, and now you're picking yourself up, dusting yourself off, and you thought, okay, finally I took this dam down, it's going to flow. But it's not still flowing. So it's just basically saying, there like some decision time when the justice is here showing up, even though in hiding, like it did in your case. This means there is a bigger kind of like a message here at play, and it's really important to listen to it. All right, so let's see who is next. The next one is Capricorn. Capricorniers. Let me see. Write it down. And I found a way how to distract my dog of lying down at my feet, which is also very difficult. Just put the shoes and socks around me, and then he doesn't want to lie down on that. So, yay! Capricorn. Are there any jumpers? Any messages for Capricorn? Yes. We have Temperance, and we have Four of Cups, and we have Five of Cups, and then we have 10 of Wands reversed. So Temperance. Temperance has this lovely rainbow in this particular deck, right? And the rainbow happens when you basically mix, I don't know, water and air, right? It's kind of like on a certain angle, you're going to see the droplets forming. But the rainbow is signifying so much more. It talks about the energetic field. Temperance is talking about patience, and it's talking about ability to merge the impossible, right? We know that oil and water will never mix. That's just not possible. We shake it up and you can see the bubbles trap in there. It's not necessarily mixing. This is just coexisting, if you really want to kind of like use the proper term, right? But temperance is also talking about encouragement, about going through something, because temperance comes after that card shows up, after you transformed, and that transformation kind of leaves us, I don't know, wounded, bedazzled. You recover from the shock and adrenaline is not kicking in, and now you're just realizing this full impact, and you're really going into this kind of like a zen situation, right? Which is really good. It's kind of like reaching the stability. Maybe you're anticipating something new, maybe you want to go in something else, or maybe you're simply not interested, and this kind of like can, to me, almost tell pandemic fatigue. I would be able to say this here because look, it's 9. It's like something that is on your mind that is really bothering you very much over here. But thanks, Jennifer. This dude here, I always say he, and that can be Capricorn. If there is a sign that is like ultra perfectionist, they always have to be kind of like really perfect in a situation. You're always counting that Capricorn is never going to come in shorts to the concert, to opera kind of a thing, right? Appropriate kind of a thing. But he is not seeing here there's like something really special offered, because he's just like overly in his thoughts, and he's like crossing his arms right before his heart. So he's closing his heart chakra. Here, this heart chakra is open, and look at these 3 cups. Now they're spilled. And not only did he not see 1 cup, it's almost like somebody winks at you and say, hey, I like you. Hey, I have something to say. But now this person has been observing you for a while and actually already has some emotions for you, because 2 of cups, guys, hello, in tarot is union. It could be a soulmate too. But this person is not looking at it, because now he was looking down, and he's still looking down as he kind of like rose to his feet, even though he has really, really funny socks over here. So this also sometimes can talk about a third party involvement of some sort, and not necessarily of the third party that kind of like spring on you, right? Like, you know, like when you date somebody and you realize they have a boyfriend or a girlfriend or husband or wife. This is more or less that has been there all along. Maybe it was like stated right out in front. You know, maybe, you know, it's a child that is becoming a third party, or a parent, or something like that. You're competing with something, right? This not knowing this emotional component, you have emotional component and you have a fire component, right? You have water and you have fire. You don't have ground, and this is not really familiar. It's a slippery slope for you. You really don't like it, even though when we transfer to your sister sign Virgo, you should technically feel better. But it looks to me that it's going to be really time for you to exercise this mindfulness, this balance, right? How you actually deal with things. And this 10 of Wands reversed is actually good when it's in a reverse state. It's not so great when it's upright. When it's upright, it's really talking about secrets. It's talking about ambition that is not going to be fulfilled. It's talking about somebody not having a proper vision, right? It's talking about, you know, somebody's just like really foolish about taking something on. So when this really reverses, we are really seeing, okay, something is a burden. I need to kind of like focus. I need to maybe just drop it. Something needs to be dropped, right? And this is like maybe a little bit of insight as well, because again, 4 and 5 and 10 adds to 19, And 19 is the Sun card in Tarot, which we are today reading, while still Sun rules Leo, which is its native sign. And also 1 and 9 makes 1. It's also some kind of like a form of new beginning. But all together, when we just add the Temperance into that, which is a major arcana, then we get 15, which is the Devil, which is your card, which means that you are exploring certain corners of yourself. There is like that introspection. There is like way of you figuring out again the system, because goats in nature, they climb these like really really high mountains, and they're not in fear, right? And they just keep jumping, and I just really don't know how they do it. Like, when I see my cat once walked out on the ledge and I'm on the 3rd floor, I almost had a heart attack, and meanwhile she's like toot, 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 toot. It's kind of a completely different. So it's a learned fear. Maybe you're examining yourself. What is it that you have sweaty palms about? What is it that you are not comfortable with? What is it that emotionally you're really expecting? And it's really telling you patience and patience and patience, and drop things that are really not necessary. Do not overly complicate things over here. Oh my God, you got a whole bunch of cards here. You got Reunion, and then you got Waiting, and then you got Lord, and then you got Old Lady. So this also can form a couple. Lord is generally somebody who is already in some kind of union, somebody who has more power, somebody who has more to lose, let's say if he loses a union. But there is like this expectation of somebody coming through over here. There's like a waiting for somebody. Maybe this is why you're not paying attention to everything else. The old woman also talks about wise advice and saying, look, she's putting the book under her feet because she knows everything that is in that book. She's basically saying, are you sure you really want to wait? Are you sure you want to wait? And that is going to be the question you're going to be asking yourself for the next 2 weeks. But the message here is, guys, you're moving forward. You are exploring yourself. Karmically, you are kind of like being placed in that balance, in that kind of like position that things can actually happen. You're really, really strongly believing in it. And at the same time, you're like kind of like sad because it's not happening right now in this period. So we are going to see to be continued kind of like later. So that's going to be interesting. Alrighty. What's next? Aries. And Aries in the house over here. So let's put a stamp here. Aries. Let's see. Aries. Leo dealing with an Aries. Here we go. I know I saw it somewhere. Aries. Aries for this bi-weekly. Ooh, I'm just about to say no jumpers, and then the jumpers came through. I don't know. Aries. There's like some Aries who's dealing with possibly a Leo or some other fire sign. Or maybe there is like a question about commitment. Strength to me is one card that I feel really close to, because Aquarians are star and strength is like about the same vibration, right? It's almost like the first floor of the same vibration, and your star is like the second floor. This talks about exchange of love messages. So you guys are in a lovey-dovey mode. King of Cups is like that emotional response. The only thing I don't like about it is that she's looking this way and he's looking that way. So communication is the key over here in the next 2 weeks. So really not much about it, not much around it. Even if you look at the colors, and that's why I love this deck. It's actually beautiful for reading online. These colors are even more intense. Like you see, we have this passion, but this passion is not getting out of hand. This passion is like controlled, and it's getting to this next stage where it's like heat, but it's not losing these things. And then this King of Cups comes, where this whole passion, sometimes you get involved with somebody, there is like, let's say, lots of sex, but sometimes the sex leads to just fizzling things out, and sometimes sex leads to emotions, right? So this is one of those cases where this kind of leads to emotional expression. It's really, really tough to date in the basically age of pandemic where you have to wear a mask. I get it, right? But King of Cups is also somebody who is very understanding, who is kind of like really listening to us, who's connecting with us emotionally, who's not going to just say, okay, just let me, jump in bed and now gotta go, kind of a thing. That's not connection. This is just very animalistic kind of like expression of who we are. If this is kind of what works for you, if you're hungry, eat. But if you're hungry for emotions, then you really need to kind of navigate this whole stage game differently. Nothing to confirm here, guys. Maybe for you, I'm going to grab a little bit of these cards and see what else I can get over here. And you got flirt. Extend your light-hearted energy to others. So, guys, you're not great flirts. You like to chase. Everything for you it's a challenge. It's kind of like provocation. You kind of like thrive on it, and that's kind of like something that you really, really like. But this is also very flirting. This is about love arrows, are called in tarot. This is about somebody arriving. This is about something is happening. So actually for you is going to have something really beautiful in the end. And you, Aries, this is a message that you need to learn how to approach things a little bit softer, right? So she's taming this lion. It's not a proportionate picture because just his freaking head is almost like size of her, right? And it can just chop us out in freaking pieces in seconds. But she's taming him. She has this calm knowledge to kind of like say, okay, let me see your kind of thing. So he's eating from her hand. So it is for you a message that, maybe if you control this exuberant passion that you have, it's going to actually have a really, really happy ending. So this is actually Aries, my dear people. Aries, very, very lovely over here. So man, I am doing okay today on time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do one more. Before Barbie's going to tell me, oh, come on. We need to do, our doors. So, Sagittarius. I like this system because it doesn't feel like I'm giving preference to anybody. This is the Libra in me. You can tell, right? It's a Sagittarius. Let's see what we have here for you. Yeah, this is you coming through. It just flew right out and say, Sagittarius, spirit guide is here. It's almost like that I can hear it. So let's see, Saggies. Oh man, I remember when I called Saggies, and then some woman gave me like really, really hard time with how disrespectful I am. I kind of like got a thicker skin since those times. So interesting, Temperance is 14 and Charity 7, so 7 times 2 is 14. And then we also have a Knight of Swords. So lots of talking, and you guys could be debating something, could be like that you're setting a new goal, that you're maybe going in a new direction. Maybe it's one of those things, are you with me or are you against me kind of a thing. Chariot, both of them are very moving. So it's either your mind is moving, which in Temperance is, I really don't pick up on the patience and other stuff the Temperance shows, because Sagittarians are not patient and Sagittarians are not the most, let's say, balanced people, because the whole kind of like group of Sagittarians really needs to go in a direction of, this big philosophy, this kind of like big ideas. So if anything, you're kind of like provocateur of some sort, right? So Knight of Swords is always kind of like heading toward some new kind of like space, and it's kind of weird because the Chariot is very similar, and Chariot is also about feeling almost like it can be nationalism behind it, feeling pride about your cause. It's not just being in the war, but kind of like really, really feeling engaged in it. It's not necessarily war that you're dealing with. It could be just a task and travel. Mind you, we have this like Linga Mignoni over here, which talks about sexuality. I do have to tell you that Chariot is technically single. He's a bachelor or a bachelorette. It almost looks like that there is like some kind of like intention going toward possible union, but it's also a possibility of leaving something behind because something didn't live up to your expectations. So because I have this love hidden underneath, let me just see what comes out for you. Past life relationship. Have you guys maybe have somebody with whom you're very connected? It could be somebody who you were with 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. It says you have known each other before, maybe in the past life. We meet people in this life and they leave that imprint on us. You just meet them and you never forget them. They maybe say the right thing at the right time, and they place this right smile in the right direction with the right light, and it almost like to us, it feels like that angels funneled, those sayings, and we are kind of having that as a guided light. Because Chariot is also very spiritual. Message is something spiritual that we are heading to, even though we didn't see it much. Past life relationship also connects to card the Moon in tarot, which talks about past lives and pre-birth, and it almost like tells me that maybe there is a message that you had to carry in this life, you had to live through in this life, and this is getting almost like activated. So pay attention to your dreams, pay attention to numbers, pay attention to what people tell you, because you will start noticing pattern. Even have a little notebook, phone. I find notebook is much faster for me to kind of like chart things down. It's because I'm old, and kind of like deal with that. It's going to be very, very important in this particular time, guys. You have two major arcanas. This is going to be a big, big thing. You might be clearing certain things from the past. You might be simply rekindling with your soulmate, or going towards your soulmate. Maybe you're just realizing short-lived life to live, and you really need to go in a different direction, and you're going to look at it that way, right? So we will see. All right, so let's see right now, because I know Barbie's going to tell me. We are going to do the doors. So you guys think of the more or less yes or no question. I'm going to shuffle the cards and draw three groups, three doors, left, center, and right. You pick up one. You can even ask more questions and pick up the same thing, but it's much easier if you really focus on one, because it's hard to focus on three. So let me start to shuffle. Let me see the left door. Left door. Got two cards for the left door. Let's see the center door. Also two. And let's go the right door. Got one card. So let's go the review over here. Is it still recording? Yeah, it is. Okay. Who thought about the left door? The door number one over here. You have Six of Cups and Ace of Swords reversed. Most likely you have asked for something that is from the past. It could be some platonic love over here. It could be something about your children. So be very careful. Somebody will tell you things that you want to hear, but they are going to be a lie. Be very, very careful. Middle door, door number two. You have Page of Pentacles and you have the Lovers reversed. Something is just not happening. Somebody is taking their sweet time. They're dragging their feet to kind of like render this decision to you. So the Lovers is reversed, which means they're choosing to take things superficially. They're choosing to just take things if this means getting to know you, they're really not that interested. Not because of you, that I also need to clarify, just because that's the way it is. Pages are very immature, and it's just like, think about a little child. You don't want a little child to make a mature decision, but it's kind of like expected that a little child is going to make immature decision, which is basically happening in the situation. So this will going to be, you're going to think it's yes, but it's actually going to be no. The door number two is a no. Don't expect, if something walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's a duck. They're not even trying to pull wool over your head. And the door number three, it's a yes. It means it's kind of like really, really good, yes, because Three of Pentacles is about building foundation, and it's Pentacles, so it's something that is going to last. So there you go. So 2/3 of us kind of like got the message that we need to scratch our head off, and whoever picked the door number 3 is just going to sail smoothly over here. So that's it. Jennifer says, Nitin Yogi, for a few months ago I found Sadhguru, the mystic. I gained so much learning the technology he has given. Between Cat and him, I know that the life is more easily maneuvered. Well, thank you. Thank you. That's what the reading that I did yesterday, this wonderful lady wrote back to me. She said, yeah, I know. I kind of already know what's going on. And then when you do the reading, you confirm what's going on, but you don't stop there. You just go layers and layers and layers and tell me why and tell me really how to deal with this. Kind of like it's much easier to maneuver. So that's the benefit. I mean, even we tarot readers, they come with different layers that we can provide, right? Okay, let's continue. Now we have we did Leo first. I was like, sounds familiar. So I guess we're going to have also Virgo somewhere hidden as well. And then we have Cancer. So Cancers are next. All right. So when I upload the thing, it's going to take another, I don't know, hour and a half to upload with the stamps. So going to be possibly 2 videos, and then YouTube is going to freak out because they're identical. They're going to say, what the heck is going on? I'm confused. So I don't know what's going to happen. But looks like that my video is going to, the uploaded video is going to come faster than anything else. So just keep in mind that's just a message to my dear Barbie. So Cancer, you have the Emperor. What are you doing? You're doing the budget. You're doing some fixing at home, doing renovations. Maybe you're looking for a new job. Maybe you're the boss. Maybe you're having a different kind of structure going on. So, man, you got lots of cards. Cancers, you see. You have the Emperor. You have the World. You have the Hermit. Major. You have Queen of Swords. And then you have the Ten of Pentacles reversed and Queen of Wands. Holy moly, this is almost like a monthly reading that I need to do next week. Next week I'm busy, crazy busy, unbelievably. So, let me see, where do we get here? The World is the high vibration of the Empress card. So kind of like they make sense together. Something is said properly, and then you're kind of like putting a little bit softer approach, right? So almost like something has made sense, and now that making sense is getting a phase or getting a deal. This can also talk about a couple. This can also talk about a couple that needs to kind of like really think deep and hard what they want. It's interesting how the 2 queens are showing up. So Queen of Swords sometimes has a double meaning, because Queen of Swords is somebody who's saying, look, if you really don't want to stick around, don't stick around. It's somebody who's not going to give you any hassle, any trouble. She's not going to be in a way, or he's not going to be in a way, kind of a thing. But I really don't feel there is like much of leaving anybody this particular 2 weeks. The World card actually is upright. It's a wonderful. It talks about accomplishment or completion of some kind of like a phase. Hermit is also 9. This is also completion, where you're really thinking through about things that you have done. He has the Star, which usually the Chariot card also has a star on his 3rd eye. And it's kind of like looking for the wisdom. And Emperor is also very wise, right? The Empress is also very wise. So I don't know if you guys dealing with any of these fixed signs. I don't know who I had been dealing with reading that I said that. So you have the Leo, you have Scorpio, you have Taurus, you have Aquarius. I'll just exchange the pointing at it. And they might be, or you have also Aries, you have Virgo that is really showing through. So it could be that you're kind of like meeting lots of people, or could be that you're just thinking about lots of people as well. This card is standing out as reversed. Ten of Pentacles is basically the card that it's almost like foundation of you. Even though it's in a pentacle suit, it really speaks quite a bit about Cancer, right? So here we are talking about family. There is like a husband and wife. There is like their parent. You know, there is a child, new generation. There are dogs, the loyalty. There is like a coat of arms over here. There is the arch over here, like of this, you know, future that you're envisioning, and they're like just standing under that arc, right? So it's kind of like that transitioning, right, in a new direction, but it's reversed. And when it's kind of like reverses, it can talk about the wills. It can talk about family structure is being attacked. Maybe somebody's not a good fit. Maybe somebody wants to change things. You guys absolutely hate change, right? So when you're dealing with fixed signs and they come in your life, they want to set their own structure. And you're like, look, you know, I kind of like lived, you know, and that kind of like worked for me. And why do you think that you are now reorganizing me? You're reorganizing me. I'm not a child. Maybe this is you who is becoming Queen of Swords, who is just putting this foot down and saying, look, I have heard the tune before. I know how it ends, and it's not me. So it's going to be kind of like some kind of setback. It's going to be some thinking through how to deal it, how to position it. But then I can see things moving forward. I can see things are going in a good direction. This also could mean that if you guys looking, that you're looking in a kind of like few different directions. You're definitely looking for somebody passionate, but you're also attracted with somebody's intellect, right? Sapiosexual, as they call it, right? So maybe this is where the Hermit comes through, right? It's just kind of like you are maybe having a lots of choices, which could be a really, some people would say good place to be, but it's really never a good place to be, because you always feel that you're going to choose the wrong one, and you always feel that you're going to hurt somebody, and it's just always really, really weird how this really ends. So family front is going to be some kind of like questioning of some sort, but otherwise it's going to be a time of wisdom and time of kind of like doing the right things. And look at this reunion. I know it's a family reunion, or is it like a reunion with somebody else? Because this means karma completed. You can actually really go in a new direction. Just one more. Haughtiness. Just don't be too proud, because pride might get in the way. So try to be very expressive, and it could be something, maybe somebody's going to be attacking you, something that is really meaningful to you, right? So your sense of home and what you consider home is really important. And when somebody comes, and you know, there are people who have really low social skills, and they criticize how your home looks like, or your family members, this really never goes well. The trail really never ages well. And maybe you're really thinking through, it's just like, if this person is disrespectful about the periphery of my life, this is possibly criticism toward me, and I have to kind of like look at it, right? So that's kind of like important for you to assess for these 2 weeks. So let's see who is next. Sorry. The next one is Libra. Libras. Let's see what's up there. Libra is probably already ramping up for their birthday. This is what happens when you are not your air sign. You're 2 signs before, you're already yay, my birthday is coming up. You're already kind of like putting the feelings out, telling people what you need, etc., right? So Barbie, you are due for your reading. Barbie is Libra, so send me stuff you want, okay? All right, so let's see. Libra, I like the flowers. Flower child. Libra. Oops, we have a Queen of Swords, which could be Libra. You have 10 of Pentacles. It's weird. Did you not see how actually I separated those cards? And they shuffle right back together. It's very strange. And 9 of Wands. Well, now this is good. So this is you, Queen of Swords, guys. And there's Knight of Wands. It almost looks like there is some kind of like flirty situation over here. It is really happening. It doesn't make sense that you're going to meet somebody at a family meeting. It doesn't make sense, but it's almost like this is how it reads, right? You just have this like numerology of 10 over here. It's also this new beginning. It's also something going forward, right? But check it out. She is ugh, she's stretching this hand over here and saying, you know what, come, 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 come. And you're like thinking, well, you have this like big sword. I'm not so sure that that's a really good idea. But who is one dude that is not going to be afraid of that? Nine of Wands. He is not coming but heading toward it. Look at that red color. Look at that passion. So the only kryptonite to Queen of Swords who went through everything in her life. She was injured by anybody. By her family, by her schoolmates, by her teammates, by her workmates. And she every single time dusted off and continued and continued and continued. Well, that gave her enormous wisdom. That gave her enormous ability to kind of like deal with issues. But that didn't give her necessarily patience because now she sees an issue. She already knows how the story ends. She's already dealing with that way before anybody else would, right? So you go on one date and you say, oh, this guy was like, And you go on a second date and like, And third date, creepy. Fourth date, you're almost like getting used to that stuff and you're continuing. Next thing you know, you're married to this person. Queen of Swords, first date, nah. Kind of like she already knows how the story ends. So she saves herself lots of time. But one thing she has lost in the process is the trust in people. And that's why she has this big sword. She has also lost the ability to really be emotional. I mean, not that she's not emotional, but she would fall apart if she just kind of like started feeling sorry for herself, because that's also the ability to have empathy when you have all of that, but you also have to keep it together because of going through all of that. It's going to be just an avalanche of emotion. So this could mean simply that you're reestablishing what is really important for you, what family values you have, what you may be looking at your kids, maybe you're looking at your parents, maybe you're looking into even renovating the house, maybe you are like simply writing your will. So it almost looks to me you're going to be a little bit of a busy bee, and it could be somebody you're going to meet, or it's going to be somebody who's going to be very passionate about it. This Knight of Wands is one of those most interesting dudes. It's kind of like James Dean, kind of like a style, or I don't know, Brad Pitt, George Clooney, kind of like people who you always find amusing. They are going to put a smile on your face, but then quickly they're going to vanish out of your life as quickly as they showed up, right? So that's one of those things that they stay as a really good memory. But if somebody can handle that, type of a person, it's you. I just want to grab one card over here, but actually maybe I should take this deck, which makes more sense for this reading. Now let's see. Flirting. It's just like you cannot make this up. So it showed up and just saying to you, okay, don't take it too seriously. This person is teaching you actually, and that was the point I wanted to make that I sidetracked myself from, is teaching you to reconnect. He's teaching you to engage passion, and passion not necessarily just a logical one, but just let's go with the flow kind of a thing. So extend your light-hearted energy to others. Drop this sword down, relax as if this is your family. You kind of like cannot read too much in this, and that's going to be very, very, very important. Okay, who is next? Who overslept? She overslept? She overslept. That must be nice, sleeping at noon. We're probably in a different time zone. And then we have Gemini. Okay, so let's write this down. Gemini. Let's see what's going to be happening here. Gemini. Oops. Gemini, you have the Hangman reversed, you have the Queen of Swords, you have the Lovers, your card, you have Ten of Cups, and then you have Fool reversed. So air, 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 that would be earth, and that would be water. So air is clearly dominating, and it's kind of like really very much into the tune with this whole flavor of the readings today, that we are all being sent certain messages over here, right? So let me see, 1628. It's 228 is 228 is 110, which is 1. So again, like you're getting the same message as pretty much everybody else. It's 1 or 11 messages that we are getting, and 1 is like certain things are moving forward. So for you, it's kind of weird. It was the feeling, or maybe you are saying that you are making some kind of sacrifices. I don't like the hangman when it reverses, right? The hangman ultimately is one of those phases in life where we really need to zip it, and we need to just see what the other person is going through. It's forcing us into empathy. Empathy is a really nice thing to have. If you have too much of it, like me, it can be overwhelming. And I kind of like really suffered in the very beginning of pandemic. I was like tearing apart all the time. I'm kind of like a little bit better now. But this is the person who, you see, he's having this number 4 over here. So he's saying, I'm giving all my powers, I'm giving all the control, and I will kind of like do what you want me to do, because 12 is 1 and 2 is actually 3. So he's saying, you, the Empress, are going to now rule it, because I'm going to do everything that is needed for things to be fixed, for things to be felt, for things to be seen, because you want me to see something. And that's why he has this big sunshine or halo. He's vibrant because he's realizing certain things that otherwise he wouldn't. But it's reversed. Somebody's saying that they're learning. Somebody's saying that they are dealing with certain things, but they're really not. It's just like, talk is cheap kind of a thing, right? And you let them know about that. Queen of Swords, just go back to the reading that we just had before. I just had this, like, for Libra, long explanation what Queen of Swords is. And you have a double whammy. You also have the Lovers, which is your card, which is telling look, you really need to make healthy choices. You're heading toward your happiness, but it looks like maybe you're even blaming yourself that you're being foolish, because the Fool reversed, you're making bad risks, right? So you shouldn't be doing, if it's lost $1,000, it would be so cool if you double this money in some kind of investment, but you can also lose everything, right? So you're saying to yourself, I have really nobody but me to blame over here. But at the same time, what is really good about being an air sign is that we recoup faster. We hold a grudge longer, but we recoup faster from anything. So you're saying to yourself, you know what? This one just goes back and throwing that fish back in the ocean. And you're continuing. And it could be that similar lesson is on the way. When the Fool comes reversed, it's almost like the same, because it's always the Fool's journey, but in few cards, like the Fool is really denoted as God, and these 2 cards are the ones, and the third one would be Hermit, right? So here it was, you're really not acting very godly, and here it is, okay, you really didn't get this right, because he jumps off the cliff and splatters himself when it's reversed, right? And dog was telling him, dog is almost like society, it's certain telling you shouldn't be doing this, don't do it, poof, and somebody splatters themselves up. So very confusing for me to see this, because on one hand, you fully get it. You fully know that somebody was either not truthful to you, or you're being told that you're not being truthful, and you're still making a choice. This is the right thing. And I guess it can be interpreted that even though somebody has lots of failures and somebody has lots of flaws, that you're still maybe married to this person, or you still see lots of elements that can provide you with happiness, right? But look at this, the Major is coming through saying, no, you're for some reason being almost like yelled at. Be careful, this is like so bad. So I want to see this Fool reversed, why it reversed, why this happened. It's almost like a suspense over here. Oh my gosh, misfortune. You see, especially if you're a lady, be careful. Like misfortune is equivalent of Tower, but a little bit worse. you can see this person, he is jumping off, but he's going to be jump off right in the fire here unless the fireman kind of going to save him. Here we also have the people dying inside, wherein the tarot card is like, okay, you can rebuild kind of a thing. But it's just like really telling you this person is not going to make you happy. So the very thing that you're assigned to this person is going to happen. And I think it's based on the fact that you have like sign that reacts to words. Like I am also air sign, and you have heard lots of right words. I would advise you to kind of like watch this series. It's called Dirty John, and that's basically dealing with narcissists, dealing with a psychopath. That's what it shows. There's a promise of this El Dorado, but there's like no such thing here at all. So be very careful about the steps you're taking the next 2 weeks, because it's going to be almost counterintuitive. What you think is the best for you, it's going to really, really explode in your face, and vice versa. So yes, you'll be kind of like agile, you'll be able to move back and forth and escape, but ultimately I can see a repeat of a mistake twice. Not once, but twice, and 2 major arcanas in this period of time. And be very careful, as they call it, of false prophets. Be careful when somebody's promising you something and it's really not delivering that, right? Or just double check things. That's all I would say, my dear Geminis. All right. So, who is next? Oh, I didn't pick a card here. So Barbie is going to kill me. Virgo. We did you, Virgo, so we are going to just skip it. If you're Virgo here, go back to 1529. Oh, I don't know if you can, but that's where it should hide this. And then we have Aquarius. Now let's see what is in the store for us. Put the timestamp here. Aquarius. Okay. Aquarius. Aquarius. Nothing exciting so far, Aquarius. Alright, so 5 of Wands, 4 of Pentacles, and King of Cups. Again, it is a 9. You know, like how most people had the message of 1 and 11. We have 9. We're a little bit behind. We're usually ahead, but we're a little bit behind. Or maybe we are so much ahead. You can look at it both ways, right? It's really interesting because this card is talking about positioning. This card is talking about setting your boundaries. I don't know about you. I have a few people in my life who you tell them about a boundary and they will just almost insist on breaking them, and they kind of like think this is almost like a badge of honor. It isn't. So be very careful that we are not the ones who are just going in some kind of like circumstance where we are startling somebody, because somebody is going to get very guarded as a result. Look at his huge pentacles he's holding right over here, his heart. It's almost like those knights with their shields, and he's holding everything he has, you know, and saying, look, you know, this is me, this is you. It almost looks like there's this line in the sand over here, right? There is going to be a struggle. There's going to be will struggle. There's going to be lots of back and forth where the solution is very simple. So it's going to be almost like, are you right? Am I right? What has to happen? You're too sensitive. I need this. So it's again this kind of like discrepancy between needs and wants. Just because somebody wants to come into your, let's say, territory, into your little space, it doesn't mean you want to, right? And doesn't mean they have to, kind of a thing. But this is like a promise of saying, or even almost like a recipe saying, look, that can be easily resolved with being vulnerable and by being a good listener, by having a big heart, right? So it's also talking about imagination. So this is not going to be about who has what. Even though it may be on the surface, there are going to be arguments on, you know, this is mine and this is yours. It's like when you see people argue. I see couples argue, and they argue like it's on the tip of the iceberg. And oh yeah, you did this to me, where the issues are all the way below and have been buried from the very, very beginning, right? And somehow they have been buried and they're festering and they're like exhibiting in the little flares through different kind of like things. So this is one of those things that this 9 means it's maybe coming to an end. And it's going to be some kind of release and relief. And maybe this also means meeting somebody. Maybe it also means having a great friend. Or if you meet somebody, it might be a water sign. Ooh. And the cards fell. And they fell all the way on the floor. I just want to pick them up. And we got servant and we got joyfulness. Well, servant, oh, here also 2 cards flicked, and we have prison and we have misfortune. Oops, it's getting worse. So servant and misfortune. The servant is clearly that we have certain expectations. I guess it could be connected to service, right? Maybe we need to deliver service. Maybe we are expecting that the service is given to us, right? This is also about respect, which kind of connects to kind of like this here as well. It almost looks like it's confusing for me, because when I just saw these 2 cards, I said, okay, good. Something might need to be redefined, and then the joy is going to resume. But then I have here prison and misfortune, but almost like actually is not that bad either, because if prison burns, the person can burn inside, and it's what is the prison of your mind. And it almost could be that these 2 cards kind of like cancel each other, right? But it might be also that don't let your guard too much down, because there's like a new, I guess, battle or fight of some sort that you need to do it, because the prison can also mean marriage. If you're dealing with somebody who is closed-minded or in closed things, is something that is almost like a fort against them, then this is absolutely a no-go. That's what I would say over here, guys. So there is like somebody who is close by, or who will be taking care of you. That is like, I mean, a really big message over here, and I can see that. And we really need to pay attention to it, because if we become too intense, it can get really bad. And so there are no swords over here, so be careful. Uranus is retrograde. It's not fun for our sign at all. So yes, do not let people step all over us and set in our boundaries, or let's not kind of like do it to the other people. But it looks like that's going to be the name of the game these 2 weeks. Softness, vulnerability, speaking things truth from your heart is going to be the name of the day over here, and that's going to be very, very important. So Barbie is now having 11-11 moment over here. That's cute. I have 12-12 moment, which is also kind of karmic card. And we have 2 left. 2 left. So one is Taurus. So let's see what we see for Taurus. Taurus. Let's see, dear Taurus. This one wants to come out. You have the 8 of Pentacles. It's reversed. Something hard to build. Somebody is not looking at the details. Somebody maybe is driving you nuts, or maybe you are taking kind of like shortcuts. Be careful with this. And this one wants to come out. King of Wands. Somebody might be coming on too strong in your life. And if we know something about Taurus, Taurus doesn't like pressure. Taurus likes to take their sweet time in everything. But like, you know, they win the race kind of like thing in the end. But look at that. Then you have the World, and then you have the Ace of Cups. And this card has the Taurus in there, has the other fixed signs, Aquarius, Scorpio, and Leo as well. Where King of Wands is more or less connecting to Leo, but it's kind of like more or less showing a negative side. So I don't know why I have this like a strong, like, I mean, sense that I have to say it was something about Leo. It was something about this August. It was something about the last 30 days that somehow formed an impact in your head for one reason or another. Or maybe you were in the final phases where you felt things are odd, things are not really revolving in the way that you want them to revolve, that kind of things, right? And let me see what Barbie did over here. Oh, I don't know. I don't see anything problems with the flowers and everything. Sadie, hello. So what I see over here, guys, is that something has been happening that is, again, pushing you in a new beginning. There is like this kind of like feeling of one, but there's also a feeling of you wanting to feel comfort. So it feels that somebody was coming through in your life, that it was a big discomfort. And this discomfort can really and did really affect you, right? And that's kind of like really, really important here to know. Maybe somebody was creating havoc in your life over here. I really don't like King of Wands. I don't like any king that reverses. Sorry, I don't like King of Wands reversed. But King of Wands in particular, when it comes reversed, is somebody who is going to come to you, going to grab your hand, is going to tell you like you're the only one. Oh my gosh, this is going to happen, you have to do that. They're going to build this like big story. You're going to almost like feel it's like palatable, and let's marry, and oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Then you organize everything and they just vanish, right? It's the person who lets you down the most, right? With the promises of something, with the promise of some kind of like furnace. So be very, very careful. You're a fixed sign. When somebody pulls this rug under your feet, oh my God, you are really, really will take forever to recover. It is really telling you that there is going to be some kind of emotional component that is going to open up. I don't really know if this Ace of Cups is even kind of like connected to it. Maybe you have been dealing with somebody who is a little bit, let's say, sly, who kind of like only looks after their own interest. Maybe you have been blamed that you only look after your interest, but like something, some phase that really, really didn't play well is coming to an end. And then something new is starting. And Ace of Cups is this nice and gentle approach, which kind of like looks like it was not so much happening in this kind of like last while. And since there are pentacles here, so it could be even going back for the last 8 months, there was some kind of issues. So let me check over here. Let me see. What is this negativity here? You have the Fortune and you have love. I would not complain about that. And this is love and this is Fortune here that you are having. So maybe a realization about something, seeing things in a different light, is what is basically pushing you through. So this is the beautiful thing, being born under sign of Taurus and also Sagittarius. That kind of like Fortune is pretty much like a wind in your back, right? And it is something that is really continuing to happen, and it's kind of like about positivity. And maybe this simply means it's kind of like a negative phase that is kind of like finishing of some sort. And this is really telling me that something important is maybe going to take place. Maybe it's going to be reconciliation between lovers, or you're going to maybe meet with somebody you trust, with family, with relatives, friends, right? If you're looking for a job, maybe this could be your boss, somebody who denied promotion, somebody who had a really tight purse, holding the purse strings kind of a thing. This is going to actually work out. It's going to be some kind of advancement or promotion. This also can talk about lottery of some sort, and can talk about lots of energy and satisfaction. So guys, you really need here to believe in yourself and believe that your dreams will come true, and they will come true. And that's kind of like a big component of this whole karmic stages and cycles that we are actually working on like throughout this whole life. So it cannot be dark all the time, but also you need to remember the dark will pass, this too shall pass, but also when we get in a good phase, this also too shall pass. So we better take some time to really enjoy while this is really happening. And the last would be, I guess, Pisces, right? You came last. Generally, you know, you're the last sign, and this time we also drew you last. And also I just looked at which time of the time stamp is. It was 1 22, 22. So you guys will be getting some really, really important messages over here. It would be really nice if you guys listening to this to get me your kind of like take on what's going to be shaping in your life regarding these messages, because this is freaking awesome. I just wish Aquarius had more messages, but we were like, no dudes, you're always kind of creating kind of karmic situation. So this one wanted to come out, Ace of Pentacles reversed. Pisces, holy moly, did I not tell you? You guys are going to have lots of things. So and I don't know if this was reversed or not, right? So this is kind of like confusing a little bit, because I think I reversed it when I picked it up, and I'll put it sideways. So you have Ace of Pentacles reversed, you have a Queen of Wands reversed, you have Three of Swords, you have 10 of Pentacles over here, you have 3 of Cups, but then there is like this questionable Wheel of Fortune karma card, 8 of Cups, and the Empress. It's just like it's a monthly reading, not bi-weekly reading here. So you have a both 1 and 10. You wanted something to move very fast, and somebody pulled a rug under your feet. It just looks like that. But then this card is coming through as a happiness, and maybe you're feeling that you're supposed to be very unhappy about the outcome, but you actually are very happy. You're actually very happy that something didn't work out. So it could be that you are the ones who are leaving some situation, maybe certain things, you know, like you got this aha moment and things cannot like move forward anymore. Because in this card also, somebody's walking away. Somebody's maybe walking away from misfortune, and maybe you're claiming you need to nurture yourself. You need to kind of like take care of yourself, and that's why the Empress is showing up, and that's why these two cards, and this card also, the Karma card, has these 4 signs, the fixed signs, again, just like in the World card. And this time they all have the wings, and this time they all actually, here we have the Phoenix, where you have the eagle. That's the only difference. But they also have the books. So there is like still learning that needs to happen until that stage of 21. This is only 10. So the next thing, let's see, so this is 11 and 10, this is 21 and 22, 24, 34, 37. It is 3 and 7, it's 1. It's again the new phase. So again, you have this repetition of ones, the energy of 1, 1, 1, 1, not to mention that everything adds to 1. So you are moving forward. There is like a new cycle happening in your life as well. And it's kind of weird, because even though you really wanted something, you just didn't want it at any price. You didn't want it at any cost. And good for you. That actually means getting healthier. That means not falling for codependency. That means not falling in traps. It also feels to me that you have support of your family, both elderly members and younger members, that maybe you have pets who are giving you a huge sense of comfort as well. And the Empress that is showing up is basically just giving you a new dimension. It is really like about the flow of Venus. It's flow of love. And even though you feel that you have this enormous cup of love to give to the entire world, not everybody deserves it. And you're just realizing, even though you really want to do that, that some people, you know, need to get it, and then some people don't. So you're basically, I feel you're taking certain things away from. Maybe somebody disappointed you, and that was the last straw for you, and just couldn't do it because you're not spending too much thinking. This is a little bit of air. This is a little bit of air over here, right? But like, I mean, these are the cups that are here, and your cups are adding up to 11, which is also very spiritual, which is like emotionally, and you like to process things emotionally. You're believing your guts. You're saying to yourself, you know what, you never know, never say never, but for now it's a no kind of a thing. So whoa, what a big message kind of like dump over here. So let me just see what I see here for you. So getting a lover boy, and then you're getting haughtiness, which is that excessive pride. Sometimes people don't say certain things out of pride. It was this beautiful movie that actually never made Oscar, and I was like always shocked. And The Room, maybe somebody was hiding you. Maybe, you know, you you have few intimate moments to cherish in the situation, but this room is so lonely and empty. Or maybe it's just simply longiness for some intimacy that just didn't happen. Maybe it's a third party situation. Somebody has been acting as single, but somebody had the obligation. And maybe this is what it talks about. Wife could be the empress, right? You could be this queen of wands. Somebody just, you know, usurped your world, and you're like, that's not a part of a deal, right? At all. So I can see that there was some kind of sexual or either interest or engagement, but there is like somebody's pride that came in a way. Sometimes pride reacts like a self-protection, so just keep that in mind. And Wheel of Fortune, as it's neutral over here, it tells me that you are neither on the top nor on the bottom. You're moving somewhere along the lines. Either way, it's not going, which we don't know the direction though. So either way, I feel the direction for you is right now to heal, to get healthy. And doing that, you're going to almost like reclaim yourself. It's going to feel like celebration. So making a positive decisions for you and in the interest of everybody is a solution over here. So this is kind of like a really going to be a mini life for you in this next 2 weeks. You're going to learn so many lessons, and you're going to go through the pain, you're going to go through the sorrow, but you're also going to go through the joy and through self-respect. And when you reach this level of self-respect, guys, you never go back. It's kind of like one of those things. When you learn to ride a bike, you never forget it. So it's really, really powerful. Okay, and now, guys, we are going to do one more questions you can ask. Now let me shuffle the cards over here. This is going to be a left door, middle door, and the right door. So let's ask. Okay. Okay, so I have all 3 doors. Let me remove this barrier here. And let me put a timestamp. Alright, so door number 1, the world. It's overwhelming, yes. Something has been built properly, something has been worked on, at times has been moving faster, sometimes slower, but this is a big yes. It's accomplishment, and it's almost like a reward, karmic reward. It's a karma card. Door number 2, it's King of Rods. It's also, there is like some vision, there's like some passion about that, enthusiasm about kind of like looking for the new horizons. So this is like also something that is going to have some effect in the future, but it's also with a big maturity because he's a king. And then I got several cards over here, which is the Hangman reversed. Again, somebody's just telling the stories, but they're really not believing in their own stories. They're not doing what they're saying to do. Oh, I'm not such a big Christian. Yeah, and you're stealing, kind of a thing, right? Temperance, things need to be balanced out. This is really, really calling for things to kind of come in balance, because that's a lots of pain over here. This also can mean literally heart attack as well. If that was, that I don't really necessarily talk about health things, but somebody's not listening, you're telling somebody to come in balance and they don't, kind of can be seen this way. Or emotionally is like somebody's just saying yay to everything, and I'm not going to do it again, and they do it again, kind of a thing. So again, on the surface is going to look like, oh, it's all working out because you're hearing the words you want to hear. Be very, very careful. Proceed with the greatest caution over here. That's what I would say, guys, over here. So this is me for now, guys. I'm going to play a little short music, and then I'm going to start uploading this, and we will see how that's going to work. Was it a glitch with Google that has been happening, or something is going on? It was just insane. I got so many messages, the timestamps are not working, it was only 7 minutes. So fingers crossed, let's see what happens. And maybe because I was recording now, everything is going to just act normally. Who knows? We'll see. I love you guys. And when is the next time? Oh, I put it until the 5th. Actually, it's not until the 5th. On the 5th, we'll have the reading, and let me do that right now so we don't have this confusion later. So I'm going to see on September the 5th, and it's going to be celebration, it's going to be a new school year, it's going to be lots of things. And you guys do know that I really, really, really love you. Okay, so what do I play to finish this? Let's do something quick, and then have a wonderful weekend and have a wonderful 2 weeks. I love you, and I wish you all the best.